Okay, so can you see this thing here? This is what I call the tip over device. It's called tip over device or fall over device from the Aprilia 2002 RSV 1000, which I bought for my daily rider while I'm working on the Yamaha project. Now, some crazy crap happened, which I'll put in another video, but I haven't posted a video in quite a while because I'm one of the dreaded COVID people. Yeah, I got it, and I lived, but not without some damage. That's another story for another video. I'll keep that for a moto blog in a little while, maybe a week or two, and explain all that. But in the meantime, I'm going to cut a long story short, and yes, there is a video on this. I was getting the bike off the back of the van after I bought it, no problem, got it off all by myself, but I was on the other side of the bike. Now the Aprilia R1000 doesn't have a center stand, it has a side stand, which is as weak as piss, by the way, and I'll show you that. It's like basically a pencil that holds up a 400-pound motorbike, which is super ridiculous. I mean, don't get me wrong, the bike in a lot of other aspects is fantastic, but not the side stand. But anyway, I was over the other side of the side stand. Now it has a full petrol tank, or it had a full petrol. No, it does have a full petrol tank. And what happened was, I was on the wrong side. I wasn't on the side stand, so I threw my leg over the bike, but I went too far with my body movement, and the bike started tipping before I got the side stand down towards the ground. And this is a bike that's standing still, right? So that the bike's falling over. So then I overcompensated and, of course, immediately reacted and pushed the bike the other way, but a little bit too hard. In fact, so hard, the bike started tipping over really quickly to the right-hand side, and it just happened really quick. I was not in control. Right, the bike just literally went whoosh over the other side, and then when it got to about, I'd say, 6 to 10 inches above the ground, I could no longer hold it. So I just let it drop. Right? I know that sounds really bad, but I physically was unable to hold the bike up once it reached a certain point when it tipped on the other side. Anyway, it's all my fault. However, what happened, of course, is I picked the bike up. Not easy when you've got a full petrol tank with a 400-pound bike, which is probably now, by then, 430, 440 pounds. But anyway, picked the bike up, rolled it in, and the bike wouldn't start. Right? Like it'd kick over, and then I ended up getting about 3 flat batteries over the next few days trying to start this motherfucker up. So I thought, oh Jesus, what's happened? I've done something wrong. Something's happened with its usual, things like, is there spark? Check spark. Had to take the fairings off, which is a total pain. What I didn't know, because I'm a total noob to modern bikes. When I say modern bikes, anything built after 1985. Now the thing is that this has, and what you're staring at while I'm yakking at you, is a tip-over device. Which, when I say modern motorcycles, this is a 2002, so this is 18 years old. And I thought, and then I was reading the forums and said, people have had problems with the tip-over device. And the tip-over device, people don't know, is if the bike tips over to a certain point, a cut-off switch, which is this guy, right, activates, right? In fact, so when I took it apart, I thought, you bastard, because what happens is this tip-over device does a lot of bad things, right? And I mean bad things, right? It immediately cuts off ECM, which is the engine control management system, and then it cuts off within that all the fuel injection, right? And I knew that's what's happening because that's what it felt. It felt like it was starting over. The spark sounded like it was getting through, but then there was no fuel. And I thought, well, why is there no fuel? And then I found out they have these sensors, and if this, as you can see, now I've taken off. I didn't go through the whole video, of course, me ripping it off, but this goes like that. It goes in the back of the bike, underneath the seat, next to the battery. And this, if anyone, that is stuck. Well, it was stuck. That is meant to be sitting there when the bike is upright. This little wheel, right? So if you tip the bike this way, it'll go head over here, right, and touch that. If you head over this way, if you tip the bike over, if the bike falls over like that, to me looks about 60 degrees. I mean, that's not like that is 45, right? Straight across. But this is going up like that. That contact point, hopefully it's not touching there, because then you could just go around a corner and the bike would stop, right? So hopefully, I presume how these things work, in fact, there's two little dots, right, is it has to make full contact with those two little dots, not just this metal bit. And the plastic bit, of course, is to stop it making contact. Now, you can check this with an ohm meter. I don't have one here. To check the resistance to see if it's letting juice through or not letting juice through, then you'll know whether it's working or not, plus if it is the problem. However, when I opened it up, this was firmly stuck. Now, here's the crazy thing. The bike fell this way. So that should be over there. But it was actually, oh, hang on. Yeah, that should be over there, but this was actually just sitting there, and it took this little screwdriver to actually jam it out and loosen up again. But I'm not a happy camper, because even that, if you're dragging a knee, you don't want your bike, this little tip-over device, to stop your bike mid-through, and you go for a nice little slide down the road. And I think, because it's got these, not that this is really particularly interesting, but it's got these little screws, of course, which hold this plate in. Now, I noticed that one of these little nuts is missing, which means it probably had a problem before and someone dropped the nut down the bike or whatever. So I'm going to put this back in, this little tip-over device, and hopefully the bike should start. If it doesn't start, I'm in big juju, because that means something else terrible has gone wrong, and I'm going to have to go back to the ECM or the control management, the computerization. I have to check. I have to get a device that tells me all the error codes that I can plug in to this bike, and then do the old slow thing. But hopefully this is the entire problem, especially since, as I said, this was sitting over here. Now, some people have said you can switch the bike, so if you want to, if that's stuck like that, you can actually loosen it. You can actually tip the bike right, left, and hopefully that'll loosen it and make it go back into the center without doing what I'm doing, which is having to take the whole thing out and take it apart. But considering what happened when I did that before, trying to get the side stand down, tipping it from side to side with a full tank, I don't think I'm going to try that again. Anyway, so I'm going to put this together, put it back on the bike, and hopefully she'll start, and then now I can start some motor blogging, which would be cool.